I want to talk about reality. Reality is all connected with the Mandela effect and the power of intention. All the cultures, ancient cultures, taught that this was all an illusion. It only exists in our minds. Our consciousness is tapped into this flesh and blood brain, and the consciousness uses it. So all the projections, everything are in here. So if my power of intention makes a house right next door, well, it's all in my head. Now it's got to be injected in other people's heads. Focus, concentrate, and create a different reality because we have the power of intention. We have the power of Christ within. And for you atheists, just accept it as a power within. This is how we can recreate the world. We can create a world that doesn't include them, the evil ones. We can do it. But we're told, no, it's impossible. We're birds that have been taught it's impossible to fly. People just repress other people. Shut him down. He doesn't think like me. That's not my version of the truth. Get rid of him. He's a heretic. He's a shell. And people just go absolutely ballistic nuts. When I was very small, I had a dream that I woke up in a hospital and there was a nurse and she's saying, welcome back. And I'm going, what do you mean? She says, oh, you've been unconscious for many, many years. And at that point, I realized my whole life was an illusion. It was some kind of game or it was an illusion. It never existed. It was all in my head. And that really affected me for the rest of my life. I've never forgotten that vision, ever, ever, ever. So everything is in our heads. But then we go, see that? That's real. That hurt. Oh, really? Well, how many times have you been stabbed in a dream and it hurt like blazes? Oh, the pain. And then you woke up and you went, oh, that dream was so real. Well, how would you know it was a dream if you didn't wake up? I mean, that pain was just as real as any pain, physical pain you can experience in this lifetime. So do you say the dream was reality? No, you don't. So when you get hurt in this world, just because you feel pain and you suffer, is that reality? Yes. Like Einstein said, everything is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. And it's persistent. It's believable. We take it as reality, but it's not. It's another dream within a dream. So if you get beaten up in a dream, it hurts. You wake up and wow. But now you know it wasn't real. So when we die, we wake up and realize that none of this was real. So many things in a dream I've grabbed and tried to bring with me, and I wake up and there's nothing, right? Well, same when you die. We just, when we die, we leave the dream world. We wake up in bed to find the reality in which we're given. It is like the Truman Show, where she goes to the sand, she picks up the sand, and this is for you, Truman. This is all for you. Well, this whole world is for you, and it's what you make of the world. It takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. But we can create a different reality. And this is the whole message of Dark City. And before you go, oh, it's just a movie, don't be stupid. No, these movies are Kabbalah. They're Kabbalah teachings, which are very deep. It's loaded with esoteric spiritual knowledge of these movies, even TV shows, and the symbology that's taking place. Like the Archons. The Archons are Jehovah, who created 6 others just like him. You ever see the movie The Magnificent Seven? I mean, it's just absolutely loaded. And you have to catch these things when people go, oh, don't be stupid. Oh, it's just a movie. Wake up. You're living in a funny world. And those people don't even listen to them because their society's trash. They don't know anything. They think they know everything. They think they know everything. And don't you dare question them or they will shut you down. Or they'll talk over you. They'll argue with you. They'll debate with you. They'll tell you to F off. Like that really does it. Oh, F off. Oh, okay. You won that argument. They're idiots. Anyways, they're of a different seed line, and I don't want to talk about that because then people really freak out. But there's a seed line. There's only 2 seeds on this earth of human seeds, and the other seed isn't human. So you have to pull up your big boy pants and just accept the truth because everybody says, "Oh, I'm only after the truth." No, nobody can. Nobody seems to be able to handle the truth because when they find the truth, they ignore it and they get all upset. And, that's a lie, and now they got old man Satan to back up. He backs him up. Yeah, it's just a satanic lie. It's deception of the devil. Isn't that right? Oh, freeze frame that. Freeze frame that. Oh, yeah, Russian vids. There you go. Free one. Ah, I'm so evil. He's so evil. We are creatures of energy. This is electric illusion. This is an electrical illusion. This doesn't exist. And it's funny how this program, when you just analyze life itself and understand that it's, put your algorithm glasses on and you'll see the programming. You'll see the programming. An episode of Star Trek called Shore Leave. So they're all exhausted. They got to, go down to this planet. They discovered a planet. So they all go down to the planet. And first thing that happens, McCoy, he sees a rabbit running by him with a watch going, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. And then right behind the rabbit is a little girl. And she's going, hello, sir. Did you see a rabbit? And he's going, hey, hey. Sulu finds an centuries-old gun. And it's wonderful because it's a gun that he's always wanted for his collection. And another scene, there's a ninja. He gets in a fight with a ninja, and the ninja's got a sword and everything. Everything's really weird. All these bizarre things, and a tiger appears out of nowhere, and then a Japanese fighter comes and tries to kill him. And so at the end of the film, the caretaker of the planet comes up and talks to them and explains that down inside the planet is a manufacturing plant down inside the island. So what it does is it reads your thoughts, and then it will manufacture whatever you're thinking. And this, I can experience this anytime. Like, I could be walking down the street, and then I'm thinking about orange cats. 2 orange cats would be funny, eh? Blah, blah, blah. To have 2 orange cats. And then all of a sudden there's 2 orange cats standing at the end of the street going, meow, meow. See, because I bring it into existence. And that's why we're supposed to control our thoughts, have mastery over our thoughts. Because we can also, what they found out in the Star Trek episode, they could also produce very negative thoughts. They could bring negative things, life-threatening things into existence. So I think the whole world is producing its own reality. But then we have the Archons that are making us believe in materialism and things like that. So it's bringing in an artificial reality of violence and sorrow and misery and suffering. And people argue and they squabble about the power of intention. Oh, no, that's nonsense, blah, blah, blah. Well, then experiment yourself. I have found it to be very powerful, and I've done things that just have absolutely blown me away. Sometimes it can take seconds. Things will come into existence within seconds. Other times it takes years, I'm learning that this is what synchronicity is about, because it's like YouTube. You go to one video on one subject, all of a sudden you have recommendations. I think this has part to do with synchronicity too. It's your mind, the metaphysical world, producing things, recommending things, like the 2 cats. So now I go home and I turn TV on, there's a special about orange cats and DNA. So that's the YouTube recommendation effect happening, okay? It's making, not only does it bring things into existence, the power of intention, but it's recommending things. So now you're starting to see 2 orange cats everywhere, Now you go on to, you turn TV on and there's some big birthday party in some reality show, and they're asking, what do you want for Christmas? I want 2 orange cats. This is bringing forth recommendations, alternative recommendations, just like YouTube. It's suggestions. So I think this is where the synchronicity lies. We have the power of intention, but on a collective base, we're bringing in terrible things. And the Tibetans, they create from their mind tuplas, actual physical beings from their mind. They bring them into existence to do hard labor for them. So the power of intention is real. If you focus. Now, if we bring something into existence, like I really feel that I brought the place I'm living here now, I brought into existence because it had everything I had focused on. It has everything I was focused on. I've always wanted a big, huge rockery. Well, out that window is a massive wall of plants, and it's a massive rockery. Well, I wanted a beach, and right over down below me is a beach. I could throw a rock and hit the beach from here. And it's numerous things. It's numerous things about it. And I always thought, it's as if I created this house by myself. But maybe I did. Maybe I did create the house. But here's the thing. We have a sense of logic. There's this half of the brain deals with logic. It goes nuts if it can't explain anything. So let's say before I found out about this house, I brought it into existence. Well, your brain can't handle things popping into existence. So if a neighbor was here, all of a sudden there's a house, they wake up and there's a house right next door. It has to have a history. This is what I'm trying to say. It has to have a history of background. It had to have a history of people building it, people purchasing it, people bringing in supplies, hiring. So now suddenly somebody's going to have memories of it. Oh yeah, I remember that house. It was there since I was a little kid. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I remember the house. I volunteered to help put the roof on. These are artificial memories. They're just injected to provide an historical timeline for whatever you bring into existence. You don't remember a house? What do you mean? It was a vacant lot? Yeah, I remember a vacant lot. Well, I remember that house being there since I was a kid. Guy comes home from work, let's say, and instead of having a blue couch, he now has a red couch. And he has a kind of an argument with his wife saying, no, it's always been red. And she's going, you're crazy. It's always been blue. And anyways, there's another guy. I look for these stories on the net, and he's in bed with... Okay, he's in bed. He wakes up the next morning. He's a single guy, a diehard bachelor, and there's a woman in bed with him. He wakes up. There's a woman in bed. He's a bachelor. He says, well, who are you? And then she goes, I'm your wife. What? Well, we've been married for 10 years. And we've got 2 kids in the other room. What? That actually happened. This radio guy was saying how he just hated ketchup. But his wife's got memories of him loving ketchup, and she doesn't understand what he's saying. So what's happening is, I think, is you bring things into existence. It has to have a historical timeline to back it up. I've never had a couch, a leather couch, and then one day in my house appears a leather couch. Well, it has to have a history. So now I suddenly remember, oh yeah, I remember looking at the leather couch. I remember saving up for it. I remember buying it. I remember how it had problems getting in through the door. Those are all manufactured memories. That's what the Mandela effect is all about. We're changing the reality microsecond by microsecond. It's changing. And it's exactly like the show. And it's funny in the show because in the end, the big secret is he recreates the earth. It was always in darkness. And then he created the sunshine. Now it's sunshine for the first time and blue skies and clouds. And so I'm thinking now, this explains the Mandela effect, and it explains reality shifting, and it explains synchronicity, because that's what synchronicity is. It's refreshing the program with recommendations. We're always creating realities, and we got to focus on the right thing, not focus on the negative. And that's what the dark forces of this world, the Archons, do, is they get us to focus on World War III. It's just around the corner. I've been listening for years and years and years of how Iran is going to be attacked any day. Israel has sanctioned a war plan. 2 weeks from now, they're moving into Iran, and then the States is Iran. Then we have this financial collapse. It's going to come. They got books. 1998, the year of the financial collapse. Never comes. And I've seen so many. Steve Quayle, he used to do that all the time. It's over, folks. 3 days from now, World War III. And it's all programming us. And so the financial collapse, it's supposed to be at any moment. It's like the rapture. At any moment, it could, okay, before you even get to the car, it could happen. There should be a financial collapse. It could happen at any moment, at any time. And then all these predictors, next year, every year, next year. Oh, it didn't show up? Oh, we'll put it ahead next year. And I think this is how they pollute us. They get us fear-focused. And so we start producing symbologies of that fear, like a financial collapse. We start, well, that's a little too difficult for me to explain. Anyways, they feed this into us, and then we create our own reality. And then we wonder why there's so many Satanists and pedophiles in the world. Because our unconscious has been absolutely polluted with false information, for lies being jammed into our heads. So I think we do. I think we create our own reality, and things come into existence. It has to have a history. Now, I lived in a city that had a Chinatown in it, and my entire memory of the city and Chinatown was that you couldn't walk through Chinatown. You had to shove people out of the way, constantly being shoved and shoving people out of the way. It was just nuts. So years ago, I went back to Chinatown. It's sparse. Nobody's there. You could play lawn bowling on the streets because there's nobody there. It was just deserted. And I asked around. And I said, "What happened to all the people?" They just looked at me like I was a nut. It's always been like this. What are you nuts? And so again, I went back again a second time, and same thing. It was all sparse, and I clearly remembered it being so packed because I never wanted to go to Chinatown, but it was good because I had all the fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff. And that's the thing. I'd go there, and it would just be a pain in the arse. It was just kind of not worth going because of the crowds, the maddening crowds, and these Chinese just pushing everybody out of the way. And then all of a sudden, there's nobody there, and everybody thinks I'm crazy. Everybody thinks, oh, you just got a bad memory, that's all. Or then they pull out the Alzheimer's card. Here you go, in your face. It gets so hostile, you know. People got to think exactly the same way as they do, or they get mad. They just can't handle it, like, you know. So I don't know. So something happened, and Chinatown got recreated, and I found no evidence of any big exodus of Chinese leaving the city. So there you go. So maybe it can be. I can change things on a personal level, and I add to the collective consciousness that changes everything. Okay, so I can have something be produced on a personal level or a collective consciousness. So before you start dissing the power of intention, try it. Just try it. Try focusing on something, you know, and see what happens. You know, I was focusing on a great party. So there you go. I guess that's all I can say on that subject. Just add your comments, add your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking, but we bring things into existence. There are things that I could list 1,000 things that are out there that should make us non-existent at this point. We should not be able to exist in this world because of certain calamities that are taking place, the things that are happening in the world. Even just look at the subject of methane from the ocean floor. Why are we here? It is an absolute miracle because it's a programmed system. It's a program. It's kind of like a video game. It's a program. There's lots of danger, but it never ends the game. It's hard for me to explain. I don't know. Smoke some pot and you'll understand. Things that should have destroyed us, things that make it so impossible for us to be here now, have happened in the past, but we're still here because it's an ongoing program. There is no end. It's a program that loops over and over and over again. So, anyways, that's a whole different subject. Okay, so thank you very much, and I don't know, just focus.